The massive alien warship hung in space like a dark cloud over Earth's orbital defense station. Captain Smith of the Earth Defense Force stood at his command post, watching the mysterious vessel through reinforced windows. His weathered face showed no fear, only calculated interest. After 20 years of service, he thought he'd seen everything space could throw at him. He was wrong. The alien ship belonged to the Dominion, an advanced race that had conquered hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. They had never failed in their conquests, until now. Their initial attack on Earth's outer colonies had been repelled with surprising ease, and it bothered them deeply. Now they had come to study their enemy up close. On board the Dominion warship, Commander Rex paced in his quarters. His metallic skin reflected the dim lighting as he reviewed the combat footage from their failed invasion attempt. The humans had done something impossible. They had adapted to Dominion tactics mid-battle and developed countermeasures within hours. No species had ever shown such rapid battlefield evolution. "Sir," his second-in-command entered the room, "the infiltration team is ready." Rex nodded. The plan was simple: send a small group of elite soldiers to infiltrate the human station, gather intelligence, and learn the secret behind humanity's incredible combat abilities. They had chosen their best warriors, each one a veteran of 100 campaigns. Back on the station, Smith knew the aliens were planning something. He had positioned his security team strategically, but made sure to leave a few deliberate gaps in their defense. Sometimes the best way to catch an infiltrator was to give them an obvious way in. He smiled slightly as his monitors detected multiple small craft launching from the alien vessel. The Dominion infiltrators moved through space in their stealth suits, approaching the station through its apparent blind spots. Their leader, Scout Master First Class Wilson, felt unusually nervous. Something about this mission felt wrong. In 300 years of combat, his instincts had never failed him, and right now they were screaming danger. They breached the station's outer hull exactly where their scans had shown a weakness. The six-member team moved silently through maintenance tunnels, their advanced armor making them nearly invisible. Wilson checked his bioscanner. The human life signs were exactly where they expected them to be, clustered in predictable patrol patterns. Too predictable. The first sign that something was wrong came when Private First Class Thompson, their rear guard, disappeared silently. One moment he was there, the next, gone. No alarm, no sound, no sign of struggle. Just empty space where a trained killer had stood. Wilson signaled a halt, his heart's pounding. This wasn't right. Humans were supposed to be noisy, clumsy creatures who relied on brute force and numbers. Yet somehow his elite team was being picked apart by an enemy they couldn't even detect. In his command center, Smith watched the alien infiltrators through multiple camera feeds. His security teams moved like ghosts through the station's secret passages that didn't appear on any official blueprints. This wasn't the first time someone had tried to infiltrate the station, and Earth's defenders had learned from each attempt. The aliens were about to learn why humans had survived countless invasion attempts. It wasn't just their technology or their numbers, it was their ability to think like predators and prey simultaneously. Every human soldier was trained to be both hunter and hunted, to strike from shadows and to vanish without a trace. As Wilson lost contact with his fourth team member, he finally understood. The humans hadn't left gaps in their defense, they had created killing grounds. His team hadn't infiltrated the station, they had walked into a trap. The hunters had become the hunted. The lesson was about to begin. Commander Rex watched in growing concern as the biosignals from his infiltration team winked out one by one. Each lost signal represented a warrior with centuries of combat experience, yet they were being eliminated with frightening efficiency. He gripped the edge of his command console, his metallic fingers leaving dents in the reinforced material. "Launch the second team," he ordered. This time, he would watch through their helmet cameras. He needed to understand what made these humans so deadly. On the station, Wilson and his last remaining teammate backed into a defensive position. Their advanced armor, capable of bending light around them, seemed useless against whatever hunting method the humans were using. The maintenance tunnel they occupied was barely lit, with shadows dancing at the edge of their vision. "Movement, 3 o'clock," his teammate whispered through their secure channel. Wilson turned, weapon raised, but saw nothing. Then he heard it, a soft scraping sound from above. He looked up just in time to see a ceiling panel slide silently aside. The human dropped down like a ghost, wearing what looked like simple black armor. No fancy stealth technology, no energy shields, just practical, lightweight gear designed for silent movement. Before Wilson could react, his last teammate crumpled to the ground, taken down by another human who had somehow materialized from the shadows behind them. "Don't move," the first human said quietly, pressing something against Wilson's armor, a device that immediately began shutting down his systems. "Your stealth tech is impressive, but you rely on it too much." In his command center, Captain Smith monitored the situation with satisfaction. The second alien team had just breached the hull, exactly where he wanted them. "Team 2, they're all yours," he spoke softly into his comm unit. "Show them why humans are the apex predators." The second Dominion team moved with even more caution than the first, having witnessed the fate of their comrades. Their leader, Major Brooks, had studied human combat footage extensively. He thought he understood their tactics, but he was wrong. The first human attack came from an impossible angle. One of Brooks' soldiers simply vanished into what appeared to be a solid wall. The humans had created false panels throughout the station, turning the entire structure into a complex hunting ground. They could appear and disappear at will, using their intimate knowledge of the environment as a weapon. "They're in the walls," Brooks transmitted back to the ship, his voice tense. "The entire station is dash," his transmission cut off as the lights went out. Commander Rex received the fragmentary warning just as his sensors detected multiple small objects launching from the station. Escape pods? No, boarding craft. The humans were counterattacking. On the bridge of his mighty warship, Rex finally understood humanity's true strength. While the Dominion had focused on developing increasingly advanced technology, humans had perfected the art of warfare itself. They combined modern weapons with primitive hunting instincts, creating something uniquely lethal. Captain Smith watched as his troops breached the alien vessel. The Dominion warriors were formidable in open combat, but they were about to learn that humans excelled at fighting dirty. His soldiers carried simple weapons, ceramic knives that wouldn't trigger metal detectors, low-tech but effective armor, and centuries of guerrilla warfare experience passed down through generations. "Remember," he broadcast to his boarding teams, "we're not here to fight fair. We're here to win." The lesson continued, but now the classroom had expanded. The hunters of humanity would teach the galaxy why Earth had never fallen, why every invasion force that had ever threatened their world had disappeared into history. It wasn't about technology or numbers, it was about the predator's instinct that lived in every human soul, an instinct honed by millennia of survival against all odds. The real war was about to begin. The interior of the Dominion warship descended into chaos as human boarding teams spread through its corridors like a virus. Commander Rex watched in disbelief as his ship's internal sensors struggled to track them. The humans moved differently than any species he'd encountered in his 3 centuries of warfare. They didn't follow predictable attack patterns or standard military formations. "They're everywhere and nowhere," his tactical officer reported, voice shaking. "They're using our ventilation systems, maintenance ducts, even spaces we didn't know existed in our own ship. It's like they've been studying our vessel designs for years." They had been. Captain Smith smiled as he received progress reports from his teams. Earth's intelligence services had spent decades collecting data on every alien ship they encountered, analyzing weaknesses, and developing countermeasures. The Dominion's supposedly superior warship was built with the same arrogance that plagued all their designs, they never considered that a primitive species might find ways to turn their advanced technology against them. Inside the alien vessel, Sergeant Miller led her strike team through a narrow maintenance shaft. Her team carried simple weapons, ballistic firearms with special rounds designed to pierce alien armor without triggering their energy shields. The Dominion, like many advanced races, had forgotten the effectiveness of kinetic weapons in their rush to develop energy-based technology. "Contact front," whispered Private Jones, the team's point man. Through the grating ahead, they could see alien warriors moving in formation, their energy weapons charged and ready. The aliens were fighting like soldiers. The humans were hunting like predators. Miller signaled her team. They had drilled this hundreds of times. 3 of her soldiers retreated back down the shaft while 2 others moved to parallel passages. The aliens below would be expecting a frontal assault. Instead, they were about to experience humanity's mastery of 3-dimensional combat. On the bridge, Rex ordered his crew to flood all maintenance areas with nerve gas. It was a desperate move, but these humans were unlike anything in the Dominion combat manuals. His order was met with silence. "Why isn't it working?" he demanded. "Sir," his engineer replied, "they've somehow isolated our environmental systems. We've lost control of life support, internal defenses, everything. They're not just fighting us, they're assimilating our ship from the inside out." Captain Smith received the update with satisfaction. His engineers had spent the first few minutes of boarding not fighting, but hacking and isolating ship systems. They understood that modern warfare wasn't just about combat, it was about controlling the battlefield itself. The Dominion warriors found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to materialize from solid walls, strike with devastating precision, and disappear again. Human soldiers would emerge from impossible angles, attack with primitive but lethal efficiency, and vanish before retaliation was possible. It was warfare reduced to its most primal form, predator versus prey. In one of the ship's main corridors, Miller's team sprung their trap. The alien formation found itself under attack from above, below, and both sides simultaneously. Their energy shields, designed to stop high-tech weapons, proved useless against simple ceramic blades and kinetic rounds. The humans moved like shadows, each strike calculated to disable or eliminate with minimal energy expenditure. "This is how we survived," Miller transmitted to the dying alien commander before her. "While you evolved technology, we evolved tactics. While you learned to rely on machines, we remembered how to kill with our bare hands." Every human soldier is a product of thousands of years of warfare, carrying the instincts of countless ancestors who survived by being more cunning, more ruthless, and more adaptable than their enemies. Commander Rex watched his internal displays with growing horror as more and more sections of his ship went dark. The humans weren't just winning, they were teaching a lesson written in blood and shadow. Their message was clear: technological superiority meant nothing against an enemy who had mastered the fundamental art of hunting. The Dominion was about to learn why the galaxy's most advanced civilizations gave Earth a wide berth. The lesson was expensive, and the tuition would be paid in full. Commander Rex made his final stand on the bridge of his dying warship. Around him, his crew fought with desperate courage against an enemy that seemed to defy the laws of warfare themselves. The humans had taken control of nearly 70% of the vessel, and what truly terrified him was the methodical nature of their advance. "Sir," his last remaining tactical officer reported, "they're not just killing, they're studying us. Each engagement, they test different tactics, analyze our responses, and adapt their strategies. They're treating this entire battle as a learning experience." He was right. Captain Smith watched through helmet cameras as his team systematically dismantled the alien defense strategies. Each encounter was recorded, analyzed, and shared across the human network in real time. Every soldier was both warrior and researcher, adding to humanity's collective knowledge of how to defeat superior forces. In the ship's engineering section, Sergeant Miller's team had joined forces with Lieutenant Baker's engineers. While Miller's soldiers kept the aliens at bay, Baker's team was doing something far more valuable. They were stealing technology. Not by ripping out components, but by understanding them. "Look at this propulsion system," Baker marveled, his hands flying over alien controls. "They're so focused on making it powerful, they've neglected basic security. A child could hack this." His team was documenting everything, preparing to share their findings with Earth's research divisions. The Dominion had made a critical mistake in their assessment of humanity. They had assumed that humans were simply clever animals, using primitive cunning to overcome superior technology. The truth was far more dangerous. Humans were intellectual predators, capable of understanding, adapting, and improving upon any technology they encountered. On the bridge, Rex received reports that chilled his metallic blood. The humans weren't just winning the battle, they were reverse engineering Dominion technology even as they fought. Their soldiers carried simple recording devices, capturing every detail of alien systems they encountered. This wasn't just an invasion, it was an advanced reconnaissance mission. "Sir," his engineer called out, "they're not destroying our systems, they're improving them. Somehow they're optimizing our power distribution even as they take control. It's like they instinctively understand how to make our technology work better than we do." Captain Smith nodded in satisfaction as he reviewed the incoming data. His forces had been chosen not just for their combat skills, but for their ability to learn and adapt. Each soldier had received extensive training in xenotechnology, making them capable of understanding alien systems on a fundamental level. In one of the ship's cargo bays, Private Adams discovered something unexpected, a collection of artifacts from other conquered civilizations. As his team documented each item, they realized they were looking at a treasure trove of technological advancement. The Dominion had gathered these trophies but never fully understood them. Humans would make better use of this knowledge. "This is why we survive," Adams transmitted back to command. "We don't just take territory, we absorb knowledge. Every enemy we face makes us stronger, not just through combat experience, but through understanding. We are the ultimate learning predators." Commander Rex watched in growing despair as his ship's systems began operating more efficiently under human control. They weren't simply defeating his forces, they were surpassing them, improving upon centuries of Dominion engineering with casual ease. This was humanity's true power, the ability to understand, adapt, and improve upon anything they encountered. The lesson continued to unfold across the massive warship. Humanity wasn't just demonstrating their combat prowess, they were proving themselves to be the galaxy's most dangerous students. Every victory taught them new lessons, every captured system expanded their knowledge, and every defeated enemy made them stronger. As Captain Smith prepared for the final push to take the bridge, he reflected on humanity's greatest strength. They weren't just warriors or engineers or scientists, they were all of these things simultaneously, each soldier carrying the collective knowledge of their species and the drive to expand it further. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's deadliest weapon wasn't their ability to fight, it was their ability to learn. Commander Rex's bridge crew watched in stunned silence as their internal displays showed the impossible. Humans were not only controlling their ship systems but improving them. Power efficiency had increased by 30%. Weapon systems were cycling faster than their original specifications allowed. The humans weren't just conquering the ship, they were evolving it. "We have to destroy the vessel," Rex announced, his metallic fingers moving toward the self-destruct controls. "The Dominion cannot allow them to acquire our technology." But as he entered his command codes, nothing happened. The humans had already locked them out of those systems too. In the ship's main engineering hub, Lieutenant Baker's team had made a breakthrough. "Captain Smith," he reported excitedly, "we've cracked their quantum communication protocols. We can now intercept and decode all Dominion fleet transmissions in real time." Smith acknowledged the report with grim satisfaction. This single battle was giving Earth's forces access to centuries of alien military secrets. His soldiers weren't just winning, they were gathering intelligence that would protect humanity for generations to come. Sergeant Miller's team had reached the approach to the bridge, but they weren't rushing in. Instead, they were systematically testing the Dominion's final defensive measures, probing for weaknesses while recording every detail. The aliens had constructed elaborate security systems, but they had never faced an enemy that could analyze and adapt to their defenses in real time. "Look at how they've layered their security," Miller observed to her team. "They rely too heavily on technology, never considering that simpler solutions might work better." She demonstrated by tossing a simple magnetic device into a corridor. The powerful electromagnetic pulse disabled the complex security sensors instantly. Private Adams had made his way to the ship's data core, leading a specialized team of tech experts. They weren't just copying the alien database, they were understanding it, categorizing it, and already beginning to improve upon the Dominion's storage methods. "Their entire civilization is built on the assumption that more advanced always means better," Adams transmitted. "They never stop to consider that sometimes the old ways, combined with new knowledge, create the deadliest combination." On the bridge, Rex received a transmission that made his mechanical heart stutter. The human forces hadn't just taken control of his ship, they had managed to transmit its location to the Earth Defense Fleet. More human warships were on their way, not to destroy the Dominion vessel, but to study it, learn from it, and turn its own technology against its creators. "Sir," his last loyal officer reported, "the humans, they're inside our command protocols now. They're not just using our systems, they're rewriting them. Making them more efficient, more deadly. It's like they instinctively understand how to improve technology they've never seen before." Captain Smith watched through multiple feeds as his forces closed in on the bridge. His teams had thoroughly documented every aspect of the Dominion's advanced technology, but more importantly, they had identified its fundamental weaknesses. The aliens had built their empire on the assumption that technological superiority guaranteed victory. They had forgotten that technology was just a tool, and tools were only as effective as those who wielded them. "All teams, prepare for final breach," Smith ordered. "Remember, we want prisoners. The Dominion's warriors have centuries of combat experience we can learn from." Even in victory, humans never stopped thinking like predators, never stopped looking for ways to become more lethal, more efficient, more deadly. Commander Rex stood at his command post, finally understanding the true horror of what he faced. The humans weren't just soldiers or engineers or scientists. They were evolution incarnate, a species that had turned adaptation itself into a weapon. Every battle made them stronger, every encounter taught them new ways to kill, and every piece of technology they captured became another tool in their arsenal. The galaxy's greatest predators were about to claim another victory, and with it, the knowledge to become even deadlier. The lesson was almost complete, and the price of tuition had been an entire warship and its crew. The bridge of the Dominion warship had become Commander Rex's last sanctuary, but even that was about to fall. Through his neural interface with the ship's systems, he watched the humans' methodical approach. They weren't rushing, weren't making mistakes driven by bloodlust or victory fever. They were still learning, still adapting, still treating every moment as a chance to become deadlier. "Your species is remarkable," Rex transmitted on an open channel, knowing the humans were listening. "In all my centuries of warfare, I've never seen anything like this. You don't just fight, you evolve during battle itself." Captain Smith received the transmission with interest. It was rare for a Dominion commander to acknowledge defeat, let alone praise their enemies. "You're beginning to understand," he replied. "But you're only seeing the surface of what makes us dangerous." Throughout the ship, human teams were completing their missions with practiced efficiency. Lieutenant Baker's engineers had fully mapped the vessel's technological systems, discovering principles that would advance Earth's science by decades. Sergeant Miller's combat teams had compiled a complete database of Dominion tactical protocols, each one annotated with countermeasures developed during the battle itself. "Sir," Private Adams reported from the data core, we've discovered something interesting. The Dominion has records of every species they've encountered, but they never updated their tactics after meeting them. They just relied on their superior technology to win. This was the fundamental difference between humans and their adversaries. While other species reached a level of advancement and stayed there, humans never stopped evolving. Every encounter, every battle, every piece of new technology was a chance to grow stronger. Commander Rex made his final decision. "I wish to surrender," he announced. "Not to save myself, but because I want to understand. The Dominion needs to know what we're truly facing." Smith's response surprised him. "We've been counting on that. Your surrender will teach your people more than your destruction ever could." This had been the humans' plan all along, not just to defeat the Dominion ship, but to make its commander understand why they had lost. As human forces breached the bridge, Rex and his remaining crew witnessed something extraordinary. The soldiers moved with lethal grace, but their actions showed not just military training but deep scientific understanding. They didn't just disable the bridge's systems, they improved them, even as they secured their prisoners. "Watch closely," Miller told the captured aliens as her team worked. "This is why Earth has never fallen. We're not just warriors. Every human soldier is also a scientist, an engineer, a student of war and peace. We learn from every enemy, adapt to every challenge, and grow stronger with every battle." Private Adams arrived on the bridge with his tech team, already beginning to integrate their findings into Earth's growing database of alien knowledge. "Each species we encounter thinks they're facing simple soldiers," he explained to the captives. "They don't realize they're facing the combined military and scientific knowledge of our entire species, updated in real time." Throughout the captured vessel, human teams continued their work. They weren't just securing their victory, they were documenting everything, preparing to share their findings with Earth's defense forces. Every future encounter with the Dominion would be even more one-sided, as humanity applied what they had learned. Captain Smith stood before Commander Rex, studying the alien leader with genuine curiosity. "Your people called us primitive because we still embrace our predator instincts," he said. "What you never understood is that those instincts, combined with our intelligence and creativity, make us the deadliest species in known space." The Dominion commander looked around his captured bridge, seeing it through new eyes. The humans had taken his mighty warship not through brute force or superior numbers, but through their unique combination of savage cunning and brilliant innovation. They had turned his own technology against him while simultaneously improving it. As Earth reinforcements arrived to secure the vessel, Rex understood that the true lesson wasn't about humanity's combat prowess. It was about their terrifying ability to learn, adapt, and evolve, turning every defeat and victory into a stepping stone toward even greater strength. 1 month after the capture of the Dominion warship, Commander Rex stood before the High Council of his people, delivering a report that would change their civilization forever. The massive chamber was silent as he explained what he had learned about humanity's true nature. "We were wrong about them," he stated, his metallic voice resonating through the hall. "We thought their primitive origins made them weak. Instead, those origins are the source of their strength. Every human is born with millions of years of survival instincts, combined with an intelligence that never stops growing." The council chamber's displays showed footage from the battle, carefully recorded by both sides. The High Council watched in stunned silence as human forces systematically dismantled their most advanced warship, not just defeating it but understanding and improving it in the process. Captain Smith, invited to attend the council meeting as Earth's representative, stood calmly at the chamber's center. His presence was both a courtesy and a warning. Humanity was ready to extend friendship, but would never show weakness. "In the month since we captured your warship," Smith addressed the council, "we've improved its efficiency by 200%. Your technology was impressive, but you stopped innovating centuries ago. Humans never stop evolving, never stop learning, never stop hunting for new knowledge. Lieutenant Baker's technical analysis appeared on the screens, showing how human engineers had already integrated Dominion technology with Earth's defense systems. What had taken the Dominion centuries to develop, humanity had mastered and improved upon in weeks. But the technology isn't what makes us dangerous, Smith continued. What makes us deadly is our ability to adapt. Every human carries the instincts of a predator, the curiosity of an explorer, and the intelligence to combine both into something unprecedented in the galaxy. The Council watched footage of Sergeant Miller's team during the battle, witnessing how they had developed new tactics in the middle of combat, sharing their insights instantly with other teams. They saw Private Adams and his tech specialists unraveling centuries of alien advancement in hours, improving upon designs that the Dominion had considered perfect. "We're offering you a choice," Smith announced. The Dominion can continue its path of conquest, fighting against an enemy that grows stronger with every battle, learning from every encounter, and evolving beyond your ability to counter. Or. He paused, letting the alternative hang in the air. Commander Rex stepped forward. Or you can join us. Learn from us, as we learn from you. Humanity's greatest strength isn't their weapons or their tactics, it's their willingness to share knowledge, to teach and be taught, to evolve together rather than alone. The High Council murmured among themselves. The evidence was undeniable. In a single battle, humans had advanced their understanding of Dominion technology by centuries. In the months since, they had already begun improving upon designs that the Dominion had considered unbeatable. This is humanity's true power, Smith explained. We're not just warriors or scientists or engineers. We're all of these things at once, and we never stop becoming more. Every human is born with the instincts of the deadliest predators Earth ever produced, combined with an intelligence that turns those instincts into something the galaxy has never seen before. The Council Chamber's displays showed a final image, Earth's rapidly expanding sphere of influence, not through conquest, but through an unprecedented combination of military prowess and technological innovation. Every species that encountered humans either learned to respect them or learned why they should have. The choice is yours, Smith concluded. But remember, humanity will continue to evolve, continue to learn, and continue to grow stronger. The only question is whether the Dominion will evolve with us, or be left behind like every other empire that thought technology alone made them invincible. As the High Council prepared to vote on their species' future, Commander Rex reflected on the lesson he had learned. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their savage instincts or their brilliant minds, it was their ability to combine both, creating something that the galaxy had never seen before and might never see again. The deadliest warriors in the universe had taught their final lesson. Now it was time to see who had learned from it.